So I have here a packet of 32 cards, and I could give you as long as you would like to kind of study this packet. Okay, so the claim is this is a Bessey sequence of length 32, which it is. So being a Bessey sequence, what that will mean, as we'll see moving forward, is that any of the shuffles that we used in this series where we've been working with Bessey sequences of length 8, any of those shuffles will preserve this structure or possibly convert it to its inversion. Inversion just means the zeros and ones get switched. Or if we're focused on red and black cards, the red and black cards switch places. That's what the inversion is, okay? So why don't we just quickly go through and do some mixing here. So LR shuffle. Now with random stacking decided by the spectator, that's the important thing. Okay, so they can decide left on right or right on left. Maybe they want left on right. That's just fine. Now, because of the stay stack principle, technically we have far more options for mixing this packet of size 32 than we would for a packet of size 8. And that's for the simple reason that 32 has more divisors than 8 does. So in particular, what that means, of course, is that we can deal into 4 piles. And this is something we could do with a packet of size 8, because 8 is divisible by 4. Okay. And now we're free to stack from left to right or right to left. We can even do the leapfrog stacking. So that still holds in this higher order case. Okay. Now, because 32 has a divisor of 8, we can actually deal into 8 piles if we would like. Not sure why I'm not centering those. I apologize for that. So we can actually deal into 8 piles like this. And then we could stack, quote, from left to right or right to left. Okay, so maybe the person wants to go right to left. That's just fine. We could even do a leapfrog if that was asked for. Now, something I haven't, let me just drop those on top. Something I haven't actually been using much, and it would work really well here, is with this dealing out that we're doing into multiple piles. So in the case of 4 piles, we don't necessarily have to go left to right. You can actually deal down. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can actually deal down. It doesn't necessarily have to be for across, okay? And I'm doing a leapfrog stacking there and making a complete mess of things. Okay, so that's some of the LR or the multiple pile stacking and dealing. We can do even or odd up jogs. You can do as many of these as the spectator calls for, and they can decide, okay, should we stack the left on top of the right or the right on top of the left once we strip these out? Okay, so there we go. So we'll strip out. These are the even position cards. Which one do you want this one on top? That's just fine. We can actually do a mange, over, under, or under, over. And we can do as many of those as you like, or the spectator likes. Dropping the cards there. There's so many of them. Okay, so any form of mange, you can do a Klondike. And once again, you can do as many of these as you like. This is where you take the top and bottom card off as 1. And I've mentioned that this particular shuffle has quite a fun etymology, a history behind the name of the shuffle that you might want to look up. Okay, and so that's a Klondike. The Australian shuffle, this is where you go down, under, down, under, down, under. It would work for this as well. It might take a little too long here just because of how many cards, but you can try that on your own. That's where you go down. Next one goes under, down. You can do a 50% coding. That's where you just deal out half the cards, drop the rest on top. You can do a Charlier 1. If you remember, that's where you push one card over and the bottom to top, top to bottom, bottom to top, top to bottom. Okay. Okay. So you do that until all of the cards have been moved from one hand to the other. Okay. So this is a top to bottom sort of dealing. Now, it is true that we're moving just one card at a time. That's why it's called the Charlier 1 and not a general Charlier shuffle. Okay, that's a little different. Okay, we can do a Bessey 1-1 or a Bessey 2-2, actually. 1-1 is where you take the top and then the bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. I want to point out that this is different than it might seem similar to the Klondike. In some ways it is similar, but it gives you a very different ordering of the cards. So that's important to be aware of. Sometimes shuffles will seem similar, but not identical. And so they give you a different ordering. We can also do a Bessey 2-2, and that's a fun one as well. This is where you take top 2, 1, 2, and then 2 from the bottom, 2 from the top, 2 from the bottom, 2 from the top, 2 from the bottom. And you do this until all of the cards, of course, have been moved from one hand to the other. And you're just doing 2 from the top, 2 from the bottom, 2 from the top, 2 from the bottom, 2 from the top, 2 from the bottom. Okay. We can do an alternate Klondike. In fact, here you can put it out into multiple piles if you want. So we could just do 2 piles. That would be just fine. Or you can actually put it out into any number of piles that divides into the 32, which is the packet size here. Okay. Now we can do a stacking from left to right, right to left. We can do a leapfrog if you would like. This is where you jump over the neighbor with random stacking here. That's just fine. We could do a pharaoh. That one's going to be a little fussier. That's where you perfectly interlace them. We can do an LR inverse. We can push off pairs. We can do that as well. Not sure how many of these we should actually do. Let's see. How about if we do a repeat LR? That's kind of a fun one. So this is where you go left, right, left, right. Now I want you to think about all of the mixing that's going on. Okay. Whoop, sorry about that. All of the mixing that's going on here. Okay, and we're not going to stack them this time. This is the repeat. So what that means is you do LR once, and then you do an LR again, and you can do as many LRs as you like, actually. Oh, I'm doing it the faster way here, if that's okay. Just, I'm doing left, right. It's just kind of a faster way of creating the piles. Maybe I'll just do it traditional here so I don't kind of throw people off. Okay, and now we could go through if we wanted to, and I want to point out something fun right here. Each of these is a Bessey sequence of length 8. Can you see that? We have black, red, red, black, red, black, black, red. I want to point that out to you. These are all little baby. Talk about fractals, a fractal relationship here. Red, black, black, red. Black, red, red, black. Okay, so if you've been watching the series on Bessey sequences, you'll recognize that these are all individually Bessey sequences. So everything that we have done in this series could now be applied to these 4 piles individually. If I can speak here, individually. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. That's a Bessey sequence of length 8. Okay, now these can be stacked from left to right or right to left or leapfrog. Let's do a leapfrog. And also we could have actually continued doing a left-right for each of those 4 piles, which it would give 8. And then you could stack those 8 piles left to right, right to left, or leapfrog fashion. That would be just fine. I don't know. That's probably enough. We have a number of ways of mixing the cards where we're flipping half of them. We have a folding procedure, which is kind of cool. And this is just a partial list of the ones that preserve Bessey sequences of length 8. But anything that holds a Bessey sequence of length 8 fixed or undisturbed or converts it to its inversion will also work for a Bessey sequence of length 32, okay? Now, I do want to point out, let me go back here. Now, there is a reason, and in fact, I want to explain this in just a second. You need to have an odd power of 2, okay, for this structure to technically be a Bessey sequence. So in that sense, it truly is rare, even though there's infinitely many odd powers of 2, right? In some sense, it's still relatively rare, right? So there's only 2 of length 8. There's only 2 of length 32. There's only 2 of length 128, and so forth, okay? And they come in complementary pairs, as mentioned. Okay. Well, let me just show you something kind of fun that you can do with this. Now that we've mixed it thoroughly, we can go ahead and just kind of okay, sorry, I'm kind of doing it fast. We can divide it into 2 halves. Now, we could have actually just cut off the top 16 cards, or we can do a left-right. It doesn't matter. The structure is virtually indestructible, okay? And so what we can do here is I can take these now, and I'm going to use my intuition to kind of separate the cards here. So I'm going to try to concentrate here. So, I'll put those there and those there. And that one there. And this one here. And those there. Okay, let me pick these up. That's okay. See, I think I'll put these here. Those there and those there. And then maybe over here now. And maybe we'll do another one here. And the one over here. Boy, I sure hope I used my intuition well. Let's just see how I did. How did I do? Did it work out well? Oh, wow, look at that. Those are all black. What are these? These are all red. Has your head exploded yet? Okay, so anyway, that's just a simple application of the fact that we are preserving this structure where key choices are being made by the spectator. That's the important thing. So I just want to step through kind of how I constructed these Bessey sequences